Emmanuel Amunike is now available to coach the Super Eagles, and I believe is the best man for the job. Also, we discuss the reckless abandon of the National Stadium in Surulere right here in Lagos. And also, we give predictions ahead of the quarterfinals of the Europa League. My name is Ayomide Sotubo, and this is the Nutmeg on Guardian TV. The conversation about the National Stadium in Surulere in reckless abandon is the crux of this particular episode, and that is because Minister of Youth and Sports Sunday Dare has reacted towards the documentary we put out. In case you need to watch that documentary, the link is in the description right here in this particular video. And of course, Solace is here to discuss it with me today. And Sunday Dare has said that it is going to cost the whooping amount of 21 billion naira, which is equivalent to $45 million, to renovate that stadium in reckless abandon. And of course, that's a hefty sum of money. Now, let me ask you, Solace. We consider that the stadium, June 11 stadium in Libya, cost the amount of $50 million to build. But here we have our Minister of Sports talking about renovating the National Stadium in Surulere with a whooping amount of $45 million. Isn't this far-fetched to you?
Extremely far-fetched. The June 11 stadium, which you're referring to, I think is about 88,000 capacity.
And this is 55,000.
And the Surulere is just 55,000.
Yeah.
Oh. It hasn't been done before that I can... Dare has assumed office since 2019.
Yeah.
There is no stadium in Nigeria that I can point to that a certain amount of money was spent, and when you look at it, you can say, yes, it is worth it. So how or what credence, what assurance is he giving that spending some certain amount of money in this tune of billions of naira to a stadium that is not up to the capacity of June 11 would give us what we want? So Sunday Dare should come up with something else. This is not what we need to hear at this current situation the country is, and sporting-wise, Sunday Dare needs to go back home to his drawing board and come up with something realistic.
I mean, there's even another twist to it when you consider also what he said in his reaction tweet. He's indeed mentioned that since he's made the abandon of that stadium like that for 17 years now, but he made it first in 2019, and he claims that he didn't know. He claims he didn't know that it was in such state. It was in such reckless abandonment, as I like to put it. He didn't know that it was like that, and now that stadium, up till now, nothing has been done. I mean, there's a certain maxim that says ignoratio non excuse in law, and that means that ignorance is not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
I mean, should we absolve Minister of Youth and Sports, Chief Observer of all things sports in Nigeria, Sunday Dare, from this reckless abandonment?
I mean, a man has been in office for 5 years, going to 5 years, and Lagos being the center of excellence, being the hub center of even sport. And then we have our custodian of sport saying he is not aware of the current condition of our own national stadium.
He said he didn't think or anticipate it would be as bad as he met it.
So what has he been doing? What are the supervisory work a minister is supposed to do as it concerns stadiums in Nigeria? So is he now trying to say for the past 4 or 5 years he has never been to Lagos to see the condition of the stadium?
For the fact he's been to. I mean, we've seen, or we do know that there has been, let's say, efforts, but the efforts
are not enough.
Are not enough at this point.
Sunday Dare is taking our sporting conditions to levels that are not worth it. There is a budget for this. You can't just wake up one day and say you are not aware. Then you saw the humongous effect it will take, the humongous amount you are going to spend. Then you come back to Nigerians and tell us that, oh, I'm not aware of what is going on. This is not what we envisage as Nigerians, and he needs to do more. I'm disappointed being the fact that he's a youth. I'm a youth, and we believe he's supposed to be the pillar that Nigerian youth will look up to and say, yes, we have someone up there doing what these old ones have not been able to do. Then here we go again, playing the same politics previous ones have played. 5 years is not an excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse of the law. So Sunday Dare should to think of something else. It needs to start working. The stadium could get better than the way it is currently.
But it leads us to another interesting talking point. There's been talks about who replaces Jose Peseiro. Nigerians are crying for a replacement. This is not a call for replacement, but we are considering in potentiality that if there was someone to replace Jose Peseiro, and it has to be a local coach, because obviously we cannot afford a foreign coach. I mean, look at how much Jose Peseiro is earning. Look at how much Genotro earned and how much we owed in debt before he left. If we're going to go for a local coach, don't you think Emmanuel Amunike, who would have the respect of Nigerian players as a former Barcelona player, as an international warrior, probably with George Finidi retaining his place as assistant coach and also backing him up right there? Don't you think that is the best combination for a coaching setup in the Nigerian Super Eagles?
Yeah, I think Amunike is a good fit currently. When you look at Nigeria currently, there are dearth of coaches. Amunike has been in the system before, both as a player and he was one-time technical assistant to a Nigerian coach some times ago. Also
was coach of the 17.
Yeah. So if we have tried foreign coaches, we didn't get the result. We say we shouldn't try our own. He knows the player in and out. He understands the game. He knows what to do and what not to do. He knows the language, which I see as one factor as it concerns foreign coaches and Nigerian players. So I think Amunike will do a good job if given the opportunity. And that's if Peseiro fails to perform.
Yeah, of course. Interesting, important to mention that. So, but also, let's look at the financials. Currently, Jose Peseiro earns $70,000. And of course, that's a hefty sum of money. But if someone like Amunike enters, of course, he's not going to earn that much. Yeah. But what do you think, I mean, is much needed to groom local coaches in Nigeria? Because we've talked so much about the gap between the kind of top-class managers we want to handle the Super Eagles and the gap that exists between them and what we have locally. But what do you think the NFF and other responsible stakeholders to the Super Eagles, what do you think they have to be doing to groom local coaches like the Amunike we mentioned? Like even Stanley Eguma of Rivers United, reigning champions of the Nigerian Premier Football League, and the likes that you can mention.
Actually, when you look at the trajectory which Sporting entirely has taken in Nigeria, the consistency is not there.
Okay.
The consistency as compared to foreign managers, foreign sports enterprises. In Nigeria here, a coach does well in a particular season and is forgotten. He's not even called up. So Nigerians are more concerned, especially Nigerian coaches, are more concerned with what is happening outside there. Everything has been politicized. So if NFF has what it takes, bring in Nigerian coaches in our Premier League, groom them. Amunike is also a good example because he is the one that led to this conversation actually.
Of course, yes.
So give them the opportunity, groom the league itself. The league is the basis for any success of a national team. Even before you talk about the coaches, our league is in disarray. We can't bring about 2-3 of Nigerian league coaches to go outside there.
Maybe I would say our league is not in disarray, quote unquote, but it's not where it's supposed to be.
It's not where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, of course.
At least the Nigerian league should, I don't know the ranking currently, but I'm very sure it's not up to, it's not in the top 3 in the African League. Yes. So.
All right, let's now switch our focus abroad. Of course, we have to talk about the Europa League just upon us. The big game that we picked to preview is Juventus versus Sporting. And you check the head-to-head records, they've met just once, and Juventus have won once. Sporting took a draw in the second game, was a double-legged affair in the Champions League, by the way. But interestingly, Juventus, this is their best bet to qualify for next season's Champions League. They are currently 8 points behind the top 4 in Serie A. And this is a Sporting side who are also not a bad team. I mean, what do you think about this game? How do you think Juventus should approach this game? Bearing in mind that this is their best bet to qualifying for the next season's Champions League.
Personally, I would want to see Juventus in the Champions League next season. However, the road is not as rosy as we think it is. There is no assurance that Juventus is going to defeat Sporting, because Sporting will also learn from the past.
Okay, yeah.
But if you ask me, I want Juve to defeat Sporting.
On the balance of play,
Yeah.
Sporting, Juve, it starts in Italy. Who wins this particular first leg encounter?
Juventus goes.
Juventus.
Yes.
All right. We now bring to you our Europa League edition of the Guardian Picks. Manchester United entertain Europa League kings Sevilla, and Manchester United, I tipped them to win this time, even if Sevilla will find it difficult to qualify for the Champions League if they don't win the tie as a whole. Juventus will also face Sporting, and these sides have met twice, one draw, one win for Juventus. Juventus to win is what I've gone for this time. Jose Mourinho's Roma will entertain Feyenoord at the Stadio Olimpico, but I back this game ending under 2.5 goals because Roma under Jose Mourinho are defensive linchpins. To conclude the picks, there is Bayer Leverkusen facing Union Saint-Gilloise, and I've gone for both teams to score, as Bayer Leverkusen have won 6 in their last 6, and Saint-Gilloise have won 3 of their last 6. And that's how we wrap up this edition of the Nutmeg. You can join the community by hitting the subscribe button and also get our latest videos when you tap the notification bells. My name is Ayomide. See you next time.